Hello, ladies and everyone. I am Robin Caldwell. Welcome to Ribbon Cobweb, where I make whatever I want. And today we're going to talk about snails. Look it. Oh my god, they're looking into the camera. Oh my gosh, Marcel. Oh, your media training is paying off, little one. So this is Marcel. Marcel is one of a few pet snails that I have. I've loved snails ever since I was a kid. I've always thought they were so cute, and I've always loved interacting with them. And I live in a very rainy climate, so I get to see these guys a lot. But I wanted more. I wanted to have one of my very own. I wanted to be like SpongeBob SquarePants. So this is Marcel. They were named after the Jenny Slate character Marcel the Shell with shoes on. And they are just as adorable, I think. When the Marcel the Shell movie came out, I actually brought Marcel and their snail buddies with me to the theater. I put them all in a portable terrarium with some salt-free popcorn, and they got to watch the movie. Some people think it's weird to have pet snails. I agree. Having pet snails is definitely a strange thing to do, but I just love them so much. But I have had a few people in my life asking me how to go about keeping snails as pets. So yeah, I decided to put this video together for anybody who might be curious about the basics of snail care. Let's get into it. First, you need a terrarium. I found this glass frog habitat online and it's worked really well. Next, you're going to need a layer of dirt. I'm using potting soil, but you can also use dirt from outside. Just make sure you sanitize it first by baking it in your oven for half an hour or more at around 200 degrees Fahrenheit. Just an inch or so of dirt will be enough. After that, I recommend using a smaller container within the habitat called a hidey house. You can make your own just by, using some old Tupperware or an old container. Basically, I just do that because snails like to sleep upside down like bats, so it's good to give them some options. I also recommend giving them some kind of calcium source. I'm using this beautiful shell my nephew gave me, but you can use other things like eggshells or cuttlebone. I found this porous rock while camping a few years ago, and I really like it because it has grooves, so it can kind of hold a little bit of water when I water the snails. Basically just provide a bunch of stuff for them to crawl around on. If you can find a mossy stick where you live, I really recommend getting that because it serves a dual purpose. Obviously they can climb around on it, but then also the moss makes a nice little extra snack for them. Just give it a good tap before you bring it inside to shake off any bugs, or run it along a fence to kind of vibrate the bugs off, and then bake it for 5 to 10 minutes to kill off any bacteria. I recommend getting a stick that's slightly too large for your terrarium and then kind of snapping it or snipping it down to the right size so that it sits diagonally across the whole thing. The next thing you want to include is food. Obviously you got to feed these little buddies. This little food dish actually came with the frog terrarium, but you can use glass jars that were used to hold cosmetics or like hotel jam or anything like that. Just wash them first. Snails are vegetarians, so I usually just give them some of whatever I have at home, whatever veg we've got in the fridge. That being said, some fruit and veg can be a little bit too starchy or acidic for snails, so just check online before you give them any food that they haven't had before. And of course, no snail terrarium or snellarium, I guess, would be complete without snails. When you handle snails, make sure your hands are clean of any irritants like lotion or sanitizer. Oatmeal here doesn't seem to want to get off my hand, but that means I can show you how to pick them up safely. Never pick up a snail by the shell if their body is outside of it. Instead, you can kind of nudge their slug body toward their shell, get them back inside a little bit, and then scoop them up body and all so you don't damage any organs that they might have tucked away in the shell. Now that the habitat is set up, you're going to want to keep it moist by regularly spraying or pouring water inside, and also swap out their food as needed. So yeah, those are the basics of putting together a snail habitat. Hopefully I've covered everything, but if you have any questions, feel free to let me know. Alright, I'm gonna go put Marcel back in their enclosure and then wash my hands, which you should always do after handling snails. But until next time, I'll see you around on the web. Peace. Look at this, look at that little face. Look at that little face. Oh my gosh. Oh, I love them.